filmmaker and musician Alicia J. Rose, and this is the Menopunks podcast. Yay! Hi, welcome to the Menopunks podcast, Lidia Yuknavitch.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
Oh God, it's just wonderful to see your face. You are such a fucking beautiful, incredible spirit that has been just, one of my favorites in the universe for a long time, whether it's your books or your corporeal center, your ability to create community, your support of so many other artists, and your wild fucking brain.
Why, thank you. Back at
you. Thank you. Wild brains unite. We cannot be tamed. It is clear.
New t-shirts.
Cannot be tamed. I mean, you know me, t-shirt before anything else. I'm such a promo whore. Well, I'm so happy to have you here, and thank you, so generous to join us. As you know, Menopunks, I feel like we are your literal target market for maybe everything you do. But I feel like, I'm 55, but for the past 20 plus years since you've been putting things into the universe, I feel like I've been there, right? Like so many of us feel like we've been on this journey with you.
Yeah.
And you are such a fucking empath and have such just profound goddess energy. I don't know what else to call it. It's kind of ancient. That's what it feels like to me. When we hang out and I talk to you, I'm like, oh, this isn't like, somebody like I'm talking to I don't go to McDonald's. Let's say Burgerville. I'm just having like a chill conversation. Like, even if we were, I would be like, there's just, whether it's wisdom or not, or just the ancient DNA that courses through our bodies, we are lucky to have you in this universe with the voice that you have, with the ability to tell your stories and share them with us. Because I think it makes us all feel a lot less alone.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. I think from my end of things, I feel some kind of ancestral hoodoo from the Lithuanian side, where there were witches and healers and strange folk who were artists and odd people. And I'm tapping into that more and more. I get to go to Lithuania for at the end of February for a book fair. And so I hope I don't just, dig a hole and make a cave and stay. I can feel like this hardcore pull of, okay, this is where you tap into CRONE, this is where you tap into story space. And so anyway, my desire to share the story field and try to keep it open so that we're all kind of there together. I think that's what I have to give. And so I just keep trying to do it in the hopes that people who feel a little lost or disconnected can kind of join in or be near or feel less alone. So if I have anything to give, it's probably that.
Well, thank you for giving it, because we fucking feel it. And this is such a fucking twisted, disturbing moment in history, where I just, like, we're all processing daily, like how, I mean, it's not surprising that the predators have the keys to the kingdom, but to hear the words pedophile like 8,000 times a day, and to see them trying to normalize abuse and normalize cruelty and things that are it's just so disgusting. And if anybody out there has experienced any kind of domestic violence or narcissistic abuse or any kind of abuse, like the triggers.
Oh, it's off the charts.
I mean, I'd love, before we get into all the fun stuff, what we're going to talk about, all the projects and all of that, I would love for everybody who's listening, all the Menopunks that are tuning in, who are fans or don't even maybe know who you are, like, well, I want to ask you so many questions, but before we get into some of those, let's talk about, like, what is your feeling about this moment that we're in? How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, I'm not the only person that thinks this, but I don't feel anything new. I feel things that are very old, including way before I was ever born. This is a story of misogyny and male patriarchal order and settler colonialism that repeats its violent song over and over again in waves or circles. And so it doesn't feel new to me. And I know in the moment it can seem like this is the worst it's ever been, but if you talk to other populations of people, they go, is it really? This story's never happened, so
Yeah.
I think it feels very old to me. It's recognizable. And those of us who have suffered from the kinds of abuse you talk about, which is legions
Yeah.
of women globally and all kinds of people, the downside is, yeah, it's triggering like every
Yeah.
second of every day. But there's another piece or another way the narrative goes, which is we know how to navigate this because it's been our
Mm.
lives. And so maybe listen to us,
Mm.
maybe tap into some of our story field, like I was saying, because we have useful experiences and we have useful advice and we have the ability to lock arms and survive is what's needed. So maybe
Mhm.
quit treating us like victims and start, you know, understanding we have stories to share that would help.
Well, and I mean, what do they call it? This is the extinction burst. I mean, this death rattle situation, it is next level. I mean, it's just, I I mean, I've been anticipating it. I have to be honest, because it's obvious we should be in charge of everything. Women and trans people, non-binary people of color, everybody but the white fuckers should be leading, and we will be. That's where the world is leading. I mean, this is not the majority that's making our lives miserable. It's a horrible, privileged, entitled shitbag fucking minority. And
Yeah.
so, they're the big blustery, monster who's like, oh, I'm going to get you. But they're just a shadow. They're not even, they have no, where are their souls? There are no souls. It's just, I mean, where are they? They were never there, perhaps. Like you said, this is a story as old as time itself. Women have been oppressed forever. I mean, there were matriarchal societies that got torn apart and then pulled into patriarchy with the help of the Bible, with the help of all these other things, right? Control religion as a control mechanism. And I mean, as horrible as this moment seems, I am like a little freakishly optimistic. I am.
That's
I mean, please.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I know what you mean. It's kind of a trick to get sucked into the binary of is it all good or is it all evil? It's
Right.
never one or the other entirely. So, yeah, what looks like tragedy and despair and terrible is also the opportunity space for change because destruction always leads to the creation of something else. The entire universe is built that way. And
Yeah.
so, looking at the difficulty destructive piece as, just coming to it with woe or despair or laying our arms down is missing the opportunity for what will be created next. I probably
Mm.
won't even be here, but that doesn't mean I should, lay down and take a nap.
I mean, you
You know,
might if we're lucky. I mean, same. I feel like, I mean, I never pegged myself as like a revolutionary person. Like, I never thought I had the energy for this or could do any of this stuff. But like, I see a massive opportunity, Lydia. I see a huge problem that occurred with, women being lied to for the past 23 years about hormonal care and having
oh yeah, yeah.
restricted access. And if we can, with you, with musicians, with artists, sort of really raise the actual truth up and give people the motivation and the roadmap to wellness that's like a different level of wellness that we thought we didn't have access to. I see real revolt. I don't see fucking resistance. Fuck that shit. I see revolt. And
No,
that's why
I
we're doing this.
I think you're right, and I think what you're doing is so fucking great. I mean, it's amazing because it's like giving rebel yell or
Yeah.
primal scream to something that's going on all over the globe with women,
Yeah.
which is, we have that saying at Corporeal that I'm not the story you made of me. It's, there are many, many rise up moments in the
Mm.
history of the world, and this is a certain kind coming at a certain time in a certain place.
Mm.
And part of the rebel yell right now is that women are human beings who are not tied to our reproductive systems as the only story there is to tell. And so as that's getting, ripped open, the variety of stories that are there to tell, hundreds and thousands and millions of them are like coming up, and that in itself is a kind of revolutionary moment.
It is. And also, I mean, I thought this when when things really started to shift in 2016 and they continue to shift, but like, there's this thing that I always call the great unmasking that at first seemed like, this is great. We're going to see who the assholes are. Awesome. But like, I didn't imagine the amount of people that would be unmasked and just how bad it would be. But I take power in that because I think you can't fight your enemy unless you know who they are. And so I'd rather know who the shitbags are and know who we have to depose, who we have to revolt against, who we have to tear down, what king needs to no longer be in charge of the kingdom, right? We have to know who. So this is one of those incredible pivotal moments where you really can, like, if you can zoom out a little bit and see all the amazing people rising up who really have stories to tell, and the stories that are getting out there, like, I mean, like, I don't want to get into the Epstein thing, God, Jesus, but like I was just talking to a friend moments ago who is a survivor of domestic violence not domestic violence, but other kind of SA, sexual assault and stuff. And she's like, I was reading the Virginia Giuffre book and I was like, why would you do that? She's like, I want to give her voice and audience. I wanted to hear it as a survivor, not somebody who's curious, who wants to, get sort of titillated by all the darkness, but someone who wants to give it, a place to resonate against. And I was like, wow, yeah, like the timing of these things does not feel coincidental. That book comes out and then all these things, and suddenly everybody in government is revealed to be a fucking child molester. Like, oh, of course. Like, it doesn't seem like...
That's what I meant by it doesn't, for me, it doesn't seem particularly new.
Yeah.
It seems like this is a current version of it. But, this isn't a super popular thing to say, and I'm aware of that. I just don't care. But if you are looking at, say, the history of America, this is the story of the founding fathers. This is the story of the birth of this country and the genocides that were required, and an economy built on the backs of people we went and got and brought here like they weren't human and turned them into the raw material to make an American economy. So, it's not a new story. We're just, experiencing a contemporary version of something that was rotten from the start. My friend Miriam Gerba, whose work you've probably heard of, or maybe you know her, she was posting recently about how rape culture and misogyny is relatively new in terms of the Americas, but it came over on the boat in 1492,
New.
It's globally an ancient story. But in the Americas, we have a specialized version of it that got quickly commodified and turned into entertainment even. So we're particularly stuck inside a very, woman as object,
Right.
woman as raw material, woman as mother and sex object, and stay in that box or the whole place goes to shit. And this is where what you're talking about comes in. If enough of us resist that narrative, another story has a chance to get born. And that's the threat. Yeah.
I like being dangerous. How do you feel?
Well, I've never felt safe, so I don't know. I've never, well, you know this, people who were raised in households that were not safe, they have a different relationship to danger and what's dangerous. And the danger for us is staying silent. And
100%.
So, that tracks back for me to being around 10 and had a choice to stay silent or not.
I think this is a good time to start talking about the chronology of water. It feels like a natural slide into your memoir, where being 10, I believe you kind of go into that as well. Like, So you've written so many incredible books, but I really want to talk about the Chronology of Water, which, if people don't know, has been adapted and turned into a feature film by Kristen Stewart, K. Stew, with Imogen Poots as the lead. And I just wanted to well, first of all, some people might not have read the book. So I'd love if you don't mind to just kind of tell us a little bit from your heart, give us the quick sort of overview of the story, and I would love to know why you were compelled to write it, and we can go into, I'll ask you more questions later, but just give us the quick version of sort of what the story is about and where we come into it and where it leads.
There's probably not a quick version, but
Okay.
I'll try.
Medium to long. We have all the time in the world.
I just thought of something that we just said. I think in some ways it was kind of my version of a rebel yell or a primal scream.
Wow.
So that's sort of a quick version of what it meant to me. It's a non-linear narrative that recollects some intensities and memories from my life and, plays them out on a page so that the storytelling can come to life and feel alive in the reader's body, which is the kind of story I wanted to tell. I wanted to tell a body story and not a mind analyzing and retelling your past as the author story. I wanted to tell a story as if the body has a point of view. And so a reader is entering and exiting intense moments with physicality, with embodied, experiences both on the page and in the reading. And why that was important is I came from an abuse household, and I had to get out of it to save my life, like 100 million other people. And so I couldn't tell a story in a traditional sense. I had to tell a breakout story. You're incarcerated within family and father, and you have to break out. So for anyone who has not read it, and which is a whole lot of people, if you choose to enter it, what you're entering is, a kind of prison breakout, and told with love and humor and vulnerability. And what I was reaching for was voice and story, and to say, this is mine and not somebody else's. And it's going to be messy when it comes out. And I think somebody made a movie that does pretty much that, from what I hear. I still haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Oh, didn't it just show like a few weeks ago here or something, but you didn't go to that?
No, but
Okay.
I'm going to see it really soon. And trust me when I say I've read enough about it and I've heard from enough people who have seen it that I think even though I haven't seen it, I kind of have seen it.
Well, you literally lived it, but yes.
But I mean, I have gleaned what she has presented, and I'm down with it. I'm down with what she's throwing down. It sounds like it's kind of a fever dream, and that corresponds to Rebel Yell. So,
well, I mean, I'll say I just have never read a book like Chronology of Water. Your ability to take the visceral and turn it into words, to make that translation is really, I mean, not everybody can really do that. And you are just such a fucking like an embodied mer person. Like you're just like, you are a water goddess, and you just have this ability to paint a picture that it's incredibly immersive. It's like getting into the water, right? Like I felt like that book, you're literally getting into the water with you. You become the swimmer with you. You feel the pain. It felt so real. It felt so immersive and so painful when you were feeling pain, and so joyful when you were feeling joy. And so, I mean, brave is such I don't like that word, but like it was so like unflinching. I think that's maybe a better word.
I like that. That's a cool word.
Because you were it's like you didn't give any fucks about how deep literally in the water or emotionally you were going to go, because you had to like exorcise the demon from your soul. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. I think that's true. And sometimes that requires going to the bottom of the ocean, like so many people know from grief or trauma or whatever, experiences you can't hold in your body require some kind of journey that
Yeah.
can be dark and deep and difficult. And not everybody makes it back out,
No.
which I'm also very allegiant to, honoring the idea that it could kill you to deal with your own grief. That's a reality in life. But another piece that's coming to me as I was just listening to you is that book for me was a refusal to be silenced and erased.
Mm.
And
In
my
what
whole,
context?
well, in my whole life, and I think your whole life, we've watched a kind of patriarchal order continue to operationally silence and erase women any way it can. We've watched it politically, we've watched it artistically, we've watched different movements come and go. We watch when women get strong and then very quickly get, suppressed or oppressed. We've seen it in movies and novels. And so, any chances women have to get louder and be more present, systematically, the structures of power come in and find ways to silence, quiet, erase, clean up. And so the act of expression in music, in writing, in painting, in being is in and of itself a radical moment of possibility. And so reclaiming body, reclaiming voice, reclaiming story, and saying, no, I will not sit inside the quiet, pretty story that you laid out for me, is kind of like a punk rock girl band saying, fuck your shit. I'm louder. I'm sweaty. I'm not pretty. I've got shit in my face. These are my tits. This is my ass. Here's my other mouth. And, these forms of expression are reclamations too.
They are. And it's something you just said made me think about it. And I'm going to just veer over to sort of the menopause disaster, like the hormone disaster that we were in, because I liken the criminal act, I'm just going to call it what it is, in my opinion, the criminal act of disseminating lies and misinformation purposefully about hormone therapy from 2002 to literally 2 weeks ago, when the FDA came online and said, oh, it was a mistake. Hormones are fine. Menopause causes death and divorce, not hormones. Like, menopause doesn't cause death and divorce, you assholes. You cause death and divorce, you fuckers, not menopause. But like, after doing all the deep diving, all the spelunking that I've done to, like, I've interviewed scientists and people who founded the Menopause Society, like, I've gone all the way down. And what I've discovered, which you probably already know, but what I've discovered is that we are the literal victims, all women, this is all women, not American women, all fucking women, of the most successful campaign to systemically disempower all women ever. So over the last 23 years, without the hormones that match what's in our bodies available to us, we've had to raw dog the fuck out of menopause. And that is hard. And that, if you don't know, listeners, ultimately menopause is the body eating itself. Literally, the brain, the body, it starts crumbling because you are without the primary hormones, the building blocks of healing, the building blocks of, like, creation. I mean, how you have babies, all that shit, man. And so we have, even beyond all the other bullshit, all the other patriarchy, all the other disadvantages that are just set by being a woman, right? They intentionally took this power away from us, and then lied about it, continually, forever. And even recently, when they came out with "it's a mistake," they're not telling you why. They're not telling you what happened. They're not giving you any information as to, like, well, you should be mad. They're just like, oh, by the way, take your hormones. Because, RFK's in the fucking front row with Cheryl Hines. She's like, give me my hormones, fucker. I'm not going to stay with you any longer. Like, that's my theory why they did it. Melania, all those middle-aged ladies being like, this is the one thing we can all get behind that's nonpartisan, right? So that kind of long-term systemic disempowerment, I mean, you're just a hair older than me and probably went through menopause a little earlier than me. I'm 55. Only this year in January did I officially hit proper menopause, where I was period free for a year. I want to get back to Chronology of Water. We'll come back to that. But if you don't mind veering off ADHD style just for a sec, into systematic disempowerment. Woo! I'd love to hear from you about like what it was like for you, like getting into menopause and getting into perimenopause. And was it a mystery? And did it destroy your life and your creative process and your artistic process? I'd love to hear like what your experience was, if you don't mind.
Oh, I don't mind at all. I mean, I just edited a collection of essays on this very topic where women are, like we were just talking about, given the space to express what it was for them, no matter if they agree with each other or not, which we don't all agree with each other about what's gone on and what should be done. And, so letting more stories come out helps us see like a 360 round picture of what's going on. I didn't have anyone coaching me and telling me what was coming down the pike.
Right.
Not my mother, not my older sister, not, I didn't have what a lot of women who are well resourced have, which is a community who's like, hey, let me tell you what's coming up. So I went into a form of shock, I think, and I thought I was going insane, which is, I think, a common experience for a lot of women who don't really know what's going on. So because
How old were you?
I was when I first felt peri, I was probably about 48.
Okay.
And I had no idea what was happening. I just thought I was losing. And I was physically getting more and more fucked and not understanding why. And so a lot of my life, I've used my brain to get a hold of things going on in my life. So I went and studied and researched, and I'm like, oh. But that only got me so far. That sort of showed me the medical and scientific care, women's health, reproductive care side of things. And that was really useful. I mean, I felt enlightened, like, gee, I wonder if it has something to do with this. But that isn't what brought me to a liberatory place. What brought me to a I'm not dying, I'm not insane place were alternative forms of care like acupuncture, meditation, swimming, and reading folk tales and from around the globe about women's rites of passage.
Wow.
And reading anthropology, reading about whales.
Oh yeah, whales have menopause too.
And so, I went first with my brain like I always do, and then I had to make a shift to the side and incorporate these much more important to me symbolic stories, or, stories of plants and animals and folk tales from other countries that reflected back to me, this is beautiful, not you're sick, you're insane, go die. And so the this is beautiful piece is what I'm most interested in helping other women tap into, whatever that means for them. And there's a woman who wrote the introduction for this essay anthology called The Big M, whose name is Dr. Jen Gunter.
Oh, yeah.
And she's, active online. You can find her. Anyone can. And one thing I love about her is that she takes the information we're all getting bombarded with and kind of lays out the different ways you might receive it. And she's very good at showing that one woman may receive it as the answer, and another woman may receive it as, that's interesting. What else can I go explore related to that? And another woman may receive it as, I don't want to know anything about it. Like she's good at showing that it's okay to have a variety of interpretations of what we're receiving now, because who knows if what we're receiving now has some problems with it too. So anyway,
Sure.
my plug-in is, what are the other stories surrounding your experience, and can you broaden your understanding to include those stories?
Well, and I'm excited about the book because part of what we're doing here is I want everybody's stories. I want to
Yeah.
hear everybody's version of menopause, everybody's version of perimenopause, because, people say menopause is having a moment. Fuck off is what I say, because we need every day to be that fucking moment. I don't know if you know this, but like in 2002, when the WHI, the Women's Health Initiative study, released their results that broadly vilified all hormone therapy as causing breast cancer, which now we know is not true. At that point, over 40% of women within the menopausal, perimenopausal range were on hormones. Over 40%. That's a lot. Do you
Yeah.
have any idea of kind of give a guess as to where we are now? Do you
I
know?
don't have a guess. I don't know the answer to that. I'd be interested to know the answer to that. I do know the study you're talking about. What is it?
Less than 5%
Yeah,
is
that's,
where we're
I
at
mean,
now.
given everything you've just said,
Yeah.
that tracks, like
Tracks.
women educating themselves and women talking to each other instead of, like you were speaking earlier, they told us this, they did this to us. At some
Mm-hmm.
point in every moment of history, women have to turn away from the they and talk to each other. And we're seeing another version of, I guess, one way to put that is women remembering they have to form covens over and over and over again. And I know you know what I'm saying.
Yes, queen. Yes, witch. We know. We know. So I hear this, like the 5% thing, the under 5%, it's wild. So then I think, okay, so that's 95% of women who are not accessing hormones. Whether or not they choose to take them is up to them, but they don't have the honest information about them. Their doctors are telling them no or pushing them away from that as an answer at all. 95% of women are just in a position where they feel kind of helpless, and they feel, most of the women I talk to feel like they were dying, or they had cancer, or they were miserable and thought life was over for them, like all these things. And hardly any of us, especially because the boomers or beyond were our parents, hardly any of us really had any map at all to get
Yeah.
through it. So we're all just coming at it. And Gen X, I feel like, and the lost generation, well, actually more Gen X and millennials are coming at it now because we're really in the thick of it. And we're feeling it in this like intense way where we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. This sucks. I'm not crazy. And maybe I am crazy, but finding out that I'm not crazy is cool. And I'm such a fucking life hacker, Lydia, and such a little punk shit that I'm like, okay, wait a second. There was a fix. There was something that people were accessing, but then it got taken away.
No, yeah,
Why?
that's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah, I'm in the raw dog it category, except for those other alternative forms of moving
Yeah.
through the world I mentioned. And also, like, it's a news story that power structures use to keep women at some distance from their own power, for sure, that you're talking about. But it's still an old story that cultures across time around the globe have found a way to convince women as they age they get weaker, or they get sicker, or they are, and it's absurd. It's so funny because the exact opposite is true, as you know. It's like the point where you hit empowerment and the ability to give something back that, everyone with the power wants you to go away. And,
Thanks. We'll say no to that, motherfuckers. That's my answer. So here's the thing that's kind of wild. So hormones, which probably weren't very accessible to you when you were going through perimenopause, and maybe weren't even accessible to you through early menopause. I don't really know your situation. I'm curious to hear more, but I'll say this because I'm having a real different experience, right? Like I was raw dogging it completely. I took every supplement, every alternative thing. I did acupuncture, black cohosh, ashwagandha, like whatever I can
yeah,
get my hands on. I did it all. And they just stopped working after a while. And I was having like 13 hot flashes an hour at the least, like so much so that,
oh yeah, yeah.
and joint pain that I thought was like dysplasia. I couldn't stand up for longer than 10 minutes. The list goes on. I had so many symptoms, and I just thought it was aging, or I thought I was dying, you know, the things we think, right?
Yeah.
And then I basically forcibly requested that I get hormone therapy. And this is before any of this stuff has really came out, you know, that we're talking about now. And I was like, I learned one thing that really made a huge difference. And I've talked about it in Menopunks before, which is I cited that my quality of life was suffering, and I requested hormone therapy. And my doctor said no twice. So instead I went to telehealth, Kaiser, like not my doctor, just some random dude of all things, like some dude who knew nothing about anything. I just like literally was like, I can't take it anymore. So I like go on Kaiser, telehealth now. I want now. So like I talked to somebody 10 minutes after I pressed the button, and he's like, what are you here for? And I'm like, oh, I feel terrible. My quality of life is suffering. I would like to try hormone therapy. And he's like, okay. And so he prescribed what he thought was the right thing. And one of the things, estradiol, was the right thing. The other thing I got prescribed, which is adroxyprogestin acetate, which is a synthetic form of progesterone,
Yeah.
was not the right thing. But I took those things, and immediately I felt a lot better. But really, that was 2 years ago. Up until March of this year, I was still on adroxyprogestin acetate. But then my doctor went to a seminar. God bless her fucking soul. And she's like, how are you doing on these drugs? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I feel good, but I still have all these issues. She's like, why don't you try micronized progesterone? So suddenly I'm on both those things. And that was the biggest game changer of all, especially for
Yeah.
ADHD, especially for my brain health, especially for sleep. Suddenly I really felt like myself again, not just because of the estradiol, but the fucking progesterone was the key for me. And I've heard this from a lot of people who have ADHD or issues like that. And suddenly, like, I was like, and this is convenient because that's right when Menopunks popped into my brain, and I was like, this is what the movie is. And so I was like, thank God, because now since then I've been fully, we call it hormonal optimization. I've been fully optimized, and I think I really fucking understand what they're afraid of and why they tried so hard to take this away from us, because it's wild.
Wait, there's another t-shirt, fully optimized. I really like that.
There's a list of t-shirts that my designer, Jen Spraja, has, and I think hormonally radicalized is one of them.
That's great too. I love it.
Hormonally optimized and ready to rumble is another. I'm like so pithy, you know me, Lydia. I want all the t-shirts. And I want to make hormone replacement therapy the punk rock choice, because, you know, they've tried to take it away, but like what so many women and people with ovaries, or even without ovaries, who happen to have like a female born endocrine system, don't understand or haven't really been educated on, is the preventative and aging health that these hormones can offer. And I would say this to you as somebody who is raw dogging it, to think about from a long-term perspective in terms of how we age. The only thing that gets prescribed, the only thing literally is one fucking thing that gets prescribed for osteopenia and osteoporosis: prevention and reversal. And it's estradiol, the only thing.
No, I'm right with you. I understand.
Progesterone, brain health, it's wild.
It's also like, you know, there's information available now about post-breast cancer treatments that my sister's on right now, that, you know, women didn't have access to until very recently, in terms of care after cancer. That brings your body back to a place where it's kind of remembering the space you were in before menopause or during menopause. So that's really important too. I've punched through menopause now. I'm going to be 63 this summer, unless I'm remembering wrong, which happens sometimes. And so my experiences around raw dogging it, which is what we're calling it,
so bad. It's fine.
Brought me to places of story space, which is how we started this conversation, that I can share. And when I put story ideas of mine next to someone who had access to and made the choice for hormonal therapy, it's important that those stories are all living next to each other.
Absolutely.
So that a woman just stepping up to the experience can see the range and look at it all and go, okay, I'm somewhere in this range and I'm not alone.
I mean, exactly. And the thing that I'm most frustrated with, because we're not advocating for everybody to be on hormone therapy, for God's sake, no.
No, no,
We
no,
just
no.
we just want there to be like a new, true, like
Yeah,
evidence fucking based baseline of like knowledge, information, and also like real tools for self-advocacy, because it's so hard to self-advocate. And it's whether it's for alternative care or Western care or whatever you're looking for, like it sucks to feel terrible, first of all. And, people say, oh, it's natural. But the reality is we as a species didn't live past 50 for the majority of reality of time
yeah.
forever.
That's a really good point.
So it's not
That's
really natural.
really
It's like we're not natural. Our lifespans are not natural. We are now like the whales, right? We love the whales. The whales go through menopause, like you said. But like, just to put it in stark perspective, if a man and I'm going to do the ball shrivel thing, but like if a man, I'll give you your example. If a man at 48 started feeling not like themselves, started feeling just terrible in lots of different ways, thought they were dying or thought that they were, had issues X, Y, and Z. And they're just like, what is wrong with me? And they went to the doctor. Suddenly their balls are half mast, like they're half shriv. And they're like, why are my balls at half shriv? I don't understand. I've never said that before, but half shriv is how they need to be said.
that's
Everybody
another t-shirt.
half shriv, bitches. No. Like, a doctor would be like, oh shit, your balls are shriveled. Let's figure that out. Like, you shouldn't have to
Yeah,
live your life with shriveled balls. Like, if a man suddenly lost every fucking bit of testosterone, and I mean, that's what women go through for menopause. It's not like they lose a little. It's a fucking glemming cliff that you're going off of. If a
yeah,
man lost every bit of his hormones, there would be some suggestion for medical intervention without like 23 years of gaslighting and lies. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah,
It's kind of
instantly
fascinating.
there would be funding moved from everything to, well, I mean, that kind of happened with Viagra.
Oh God, I know.
Funding just instantly moved over to, yeah, let's give all the dudes Viagra.
Well, and I just talked to Nico Case, who's, I mean,
I
another
know, very exciting.
unbelievable. Yeah, I can't wait to share the Nico Case interview with everybody, and hopefully she'll be on the podcast soon so we can get even deeper into it, because we started talking about other stuff at her show. I was like, oh my God, we didn't talk about that. She's like, we'll talk about it on the podcast. I mean, that woman, just what an incredible human being, first of all, but she really has a remarkable perspective, not that dissimilar from yours, on sort of the power of menopause with or without any intervention, right? Doesn't really matter. Like, this is a time of life where we are really at our most powerful. I mean, we really are. Like, the kids are out of the house. If we had kids, we've had fucking 50 years of life or whatever, to like become the versions of ourselves that we want to continue to be, right? We've worked out
Yeah,
hopefully some of the trauma, or we've made it work for us, hopefully, so we can write stories and make careers off of it, hopefully. So like, use it instead of letting it use us, right? It can be our passion and our inspiration, even though, and we can exercise it, but it's part of us. And we're now at this phase of our life where we really, like, we can see it all, right? We truly have zoomed out wisdom and perspective on life. We've raised the kids, we've helped the world. We've been there. We've been caring for people, all this stuff. Yet, we're really all throughout my adulthood up until recently, my mom didn't tell me shit about menopause, nothing ever, except I could tell she was miserable, but she seemed in denial of it. We didn't get prepared by our mom, especially Gen X. Definitely lost Gen. Like, they didn't tell us shit. They were in the crosshairs of this fucking scandal that went
yeah,
down. They were the ones who got literally ripped off of hormone therapy. That's interesting, right? So they were sort of denied, and they took that denial and they kind of passed it down to us. And the
yeah,
expectation of invisibility and, and lesser than at this time of life became kind of what we were to expect. But
yeah,
what if, Lydia, and you know this, and I know this, what if, whether it's through community or through alternative medicine or through hormone therapy or through whatever, what if we are able to access and really utilize that strength and that wisdom and that fucking crone power to not just revolutionize our own bodies, but to revolutionize the fucking world? Because the world is a piece of shit right now in many ways. And I feel like what it's missing is us. Like if you look
I
at
agree with that.
Right? What do you think about that?
100%. Like what you are throwing down, I am down with your vibe. It reminds me a little bit. I think it was just yesterday I read some quote that Björk said, and I don't know what it was verbatim, but it was something about how after about 50 or so, you stop living your life linearly. You don't experience it as a linear life anymore, and you're not moving through life reacting to things and processing and then moving to the next thing. You have more of, like you were describing this, you're in outer space or you're up above, and you're not locked in this linear place, and so you can bring your entirety of experience to what's around you and decide where to share it. And you mentioned the word community. Most of the people I work with now are younger than me. And a whole hell of a lot of them are about age 30 to 45. So I have this great chance to say, to give what you and I were not given. And so I'm doing it on overtime, like, you know, you had a hot flash? You had a hot flash? Let me talk to you about hot flashes. Let me tell you 10,000 things about hot flashes and why they're cool and how you might be a witch and you could make a spell if you had a hot flash. Or, you know, like, here's how to make sex better if you have hot flashes.
Oh, I love
You
it so
know,
much.
like, it's just this astonishing no fucks given, which is getting thrown around a lot right now, but also ability to share when and where you see it would be useful, and kind of covert ops in small cells to help the people who could best serve whatever world is next, not hide inside their shame or feel alone inside their experience or feel like something's wrong with them. Like, this is exactly the time to build the underground tunnels to each other and tell each other everything. And that's exciting. Like, I had a daughter who died when she was a baby, but I've realized for about 30 or 40 years now, I get to work with daughters all the time, hundreds and hundreds of them, and they're amazing. And they're the next, you know, they're what's coming. And so I kind of have a responsibility not to stay quiet. That's what I received, and it made me feel like I was going to die. So I don't want to do that. I want to share everything I know. And if they don't need it, that's fine. They could do whatever they want. But those who are coming deserve the space to feel like they're not alone, and the shared knowledge we have to give. What they do with it is up to them.
So will you show me the book again? Show us you have the book. Did you have the book right in front of you? I love it. The Big M. So tell me a little bit about it for a sec. Was this an idea you've been brewing for a while? Did somebody approach you? How did it come about? And then, so what was your sort of method for finding people and sort of vetting those stories? Like, can you give a little kind of explanation on that?
Yeah, I mean, my going through menopause certainly probably birthed the idea, and my feeling of alienation and isolation, like, what the fuck was that? You know, like, what? So part of it was just that feeling, and like you, I've never been a reserved or quiet person, so when I hit the feeling, I'm like, you don't just lay there and do nothing or go quietly hide in a corner, you make noise. And so I guess part of the idea is, well, how can we make noise? And I was in conversation with my agent, Rehane Sanders, and the only way I could imagine doing a book like this would be to include other people, because I didn't think anyone wanted to hear me drone on for
a whole book. I mean, it's a lot, right?
about menopause. So, but I did see clearly that if I got chunk of writers together and we made an organism of all our different experiences, it would amplify the idea that no one's experience is the experience. And it would make an array or a fan, that walks around the experience. And that became really important to me.
I love that. And so did you draw the writers from sort of your coven, or did you go outside the coven, or
I went outside the coven. I won the battle to include some of the coven, but a priority idea for me was diversity.
Absolutely.
And
oh yeah.
So
everybody goes through it so differently, and especially women of color, different ethnicities.
Yeah.
It's like a wide array of experiences.
Yes.
I'm so glad you did that, because so much of the metaverse is so white. It's like so many white ladies complaining, and like that really becomes dissonant for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's very annoying to me, the mono whiteness of the storytelling space. So that was pretty important, but then also diversity of age. So I think the youngest experiences were from somebody who, for medical reasons, went through early menopause before she was even 40. She was in her 30s. And the oldest person in there is an octogenarian. I think she's 82 or something. So we're going from 30s to 80s,
I love that.
which is also really important for you and Menopunks too. Like that age dial matters.
100%.
And like treating menopause like it only happens to women 55 to 65 is part of the problem.
100%. Yes, absolutely.
And like Joey Soloway's in there. So that's getting moving the dial all over the place.
I love that dial flipping out. That's the way it should be, because so many people, regardless of their gender identity or whatever, like everybody, if you happen to have, like, you were born with a, female, I guess to call it that, like endocrine system, like you're going to experience it. Nobody is out of it. But I think especially I'm also focused on trying to present a diverse array of experiences through the lens of artists and musicians, which is a little different. So how do we represent that? And I'm excited that in the book you went as deep as 80, because I feel like boomers there's a lot of bitterness actually in the boomers, especially
that too.
Yeah. What was your experience like in terms of the range of stories in the Big M, like vibe wise?
Yeah, it was very illuminating for me in the ways you're talking about. Because each of the essays has a different tude. And so when I had them all together and I was looking at the range of tude, I'm like, wow, okay, that person's really angry. Okay, that person's really happy. Oh man, look at that person. She's just filled with grief. But that seemed important, like... that's good too, that nobody has to suppress what their orientation in terms of the emotions are to this, because that's another thing we're asked to silence ourselves about, and that's stupid and violent and gross.
And there's so much liberation, as you mentioned earlier, with just like sharing your story. It's like the oldest thing in the book. It's like it's the most matriarchal thing that there is.
Exactly.
It's passing these stories down, right? And I feel like we really got fucked, your generation and my generation and the millennials, really everybody, let's just say we all got fucked. And I think it's so important to I want all people who have, those systems, or even everybody really, to understand the range of experience, but also, the range of care, right? Like what can you do and what did people do? Because I think modeling care and modeling access and modeling proper information is like what it's all about, because both our generations are like, we don't want to be told what to do. I'm sorry. No, like the punk in us is like, fuck you motherfuckers. I don't trust anything. I mean, I've had people contact me this week completely dubious of the FDA's announcement about taking black box warning off of all hormone therapy, which in the metaverse, the menosphere, whatever the fuck it is, everybody's freaking out. We're like, this is what we've all been waiting for. This is a huge deal. Nobody should get fucking estradiol vaginal cream with a black box warning. Like, it's the safest thing. Brings your fucking vagina back to life. It's magical. It's fucking magical. Everybody should be on that shit. But like, there's a dubiousness with sort of seeing RFK do it, which I get. That motherfucker's fucking with vaccines. It's a disaster, right? But we're all very dubious. And we also have been told no by our doctors, or just ignored by our doctors, or whatever. Yep. And so, you know, to feel seen, to feel heard, to have advice, like, we need it modeled. So, you know, yes. who do our generations trust more than doctors? Musicians and artists. Like, that's, you know, writers.
No, this is why what you're doing is the vibe. It's the way to go, because it's a little bit like, don't accept the information from pure evil land, but do go make covens and do what you need to do with the information, and share it and research it and find a way to build what you need in your communities. It doesn't matter what snakes are spewing. And that's just them trying to incorporate information so they can control it. And you watch what happens next with the information coming from that particular source. It's just another version of an attempt to silence and control and erase. But the information itself can be disseminated and made of use any way we want it to. It doesn't matter what the power structures do. It's never mattered.
It's true. And, you know, I think what's been kind of mind-blowing to me about Menopunks, and I think you'll find this with the Big M, and of course Chronology of Water, because that was such an empowering book. I thought Dora was also a really empowering book. All of your books are fucking amazing. But just pinning on these two, because we can't talk about everything. I feel like my whole MO was to find a way to rebrand menopause. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I didn't mean to rebrand it, but I was like, there's no, like, how do I take pride in menopause? Like, it's really weird, because I'm so mad. I'm so angry. I'm defiant. I don't want to take no for an answer. I refuse. I want to do it my way. This is why I was like hacking Kaiser and figuring it out. I was like, if there's an answer, I fucking want it, man. Give me the drugs. I want drugs. I want it all. What can I take? Can I feel better? Is it, you know? And so, I mean, there's lots of ways to kind of view menopause, but being a menopunk, like, there's a power in that I didn't even really understand when it popped out of my ADHD stoner brain, that I've really, like, it's not even mine anymore. It didn't take long. But people are like, I'm a fucking menopunk. And I'm like, yes, you are, motherfucker. Yes. And I love that, because this is a time of fucking life that, like, we need to be circling with our fucking covens, powering the fuck up, and like screaming the fucking truth, and like drowning out the shitbags, because we are over it. We've been over it forever. Nothing's new with that. But now they're showing us exactly who they are. Just at the same time where we are fucking like circling our wagons, ready to fucking like spit fucking dry vagina juice at them, like get them. Like, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Do dry vaginas even have juice? That was a really terrible analogy. But the point is, we're gonna squirt at them anyway. Everybody's got that till they die. Anyway, so I think creating things, whether it's the Big M or films or Menopunks or whatever, anything that can just give us a new framework for, I think, really understanding this time of life and the experience, and having the experience modeled by writers, incredible artists, whether it's musicians. I mean, hearing Corin Tucker or Nico fucking Case. Oh my God, like, nobody's seen this interview yet, but hearing Nico Case talk about her experience in menopause and how it completely fucked her creative process up, and she was unable to write for a long time, and how when she doesn't even take estradiol because it messes with her, she's intolerant, but she does take progesterone. That made such a huge difference in her quality of life. You wonder when you see artists, when you hear from artists, you know, what they're going through, because you see them change, you visually see them change from younger women into older women. That's what happens. We all age, but like, you know, how did that affect her art? How did that affect her life? And I think that regular people who maybe aren't necessarily artists or musicians or writers or whatever, just regular, just day-to-day human beings who are just living their lives, it's so important to see those experiences modeled and those feelings modeled, so we don't feel alone. So we feel like our coven isn't just the 10 women around us, but it's the 50% of women everywhere in the world, so that our
Yeah.
majority is stronger than we've been led to believe.
Oh, God, yes. God, yes. I keep saying my plug-in is, can I amplify and multiply stories?
Yeah, same.
Can I help that happen? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
my deal. I'm here for that. So I'm like, okay, how can we get more of them? How can we turn the volume up? How can we make these stories part of what's circulating out there? I love what you were just saying, though, because it's a combination of reclamation,
Mm-hmm.
like taking back one's own experiences and stories, amplification, giving expression, no matter what your form is, and sharing it. And then this thing you just said, modeling. Like, part of what I missed in my pass through it was getting to see versions of myself celebrated, or,
Right.
given the fuck yeah, or, so Menopunks is so important for that reason, to just model it for those who are coming, and not just for ourselves, to say, look, we're not dead.
And it's so
And we
generous.
still do this. Yeah. But
It's,
like,
yeah.
it's, I write novels too, and there's almost always an older woman character who is throwing down some wisdoms, and
Groans.
one of them is always some version of, your worth has nothing to do with your reproductive cycle. Your worth is not attached to your ability to have a baby. And so the women characters who mouth that are usually a little older, and they're saying it to women a little younger in the stories. And this is going to be a hard nut to crack, because all women everywhere are encouraged to understand their lives as intimately tethered to their reproductive usefulness. And that has been a genocidal violence against women's self-worth.
Absolutely.
Since we came upon the planet as humans.
It's so true.
And so, turning getting older back into the rebel yell has always been important. What's important about it at this time and place is the forces of fascistic order are back with their different suits, different hair, but violent agenda. So louder, stronger, locking arms,
Coven up.
coven up.
I have a question for you. And I think we should talk more about, like, women in general should talk about how awesome it is to not have a fucking period. Because to be in half your fucking, I'm like, oh my God, I like no period. I have to even adjust to that. Is such a mind fuck, because okay, first of all, I want to ask you one question. And this is so tied in with having a period, and I don't know exactly what your experience was with having a period, if you had hard times or easier times. I think, remembering some of your writing about it, I believe it wasn't that easy. But do you think that through our experience with menstruation and all of that, and even just life, do you think that women are sort of taught, bred, expected to suffer?
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah, from religion, from philosophy, from politics, from family narratives. Yeah, that's your lot in life, is suffering.
Right.
And there's an essay I wrote for the introduction of this Big M book that's called "This Blood Is Mine Again." It's almost like that we bleed as a story was taken away from us to serve a culture that needed us to be a certain thing in its story. But when you stop bleeding, your blood is yours to do with whatever you want again, and it doesn't need to serve culture. And I love this idea that, the point at which the blood stops is the point at which you get to direct the story completely autonomously. And that's true and not true. I just like that idea. I also like the idea that we're not just trying to figure out how to fit into the roles that have been made available to us ever again. And when you're younger and you're doing that, you're a rebel, you're a punk, you're a resistor, you're a misfit, which I've written way too much about.
I mean, that was your life. Yeah.
But as a woman in her 60s, being on the edge of culture is the perfect place to be, to rupture the shape. Like if you're on the edges, and let's say the shape is a circle, you can fuck that circle up so bad. And so if we're getting louder and noisier and more vibrant at the edges, which we've been shoved to as women who age, then it becomes incumbent upon us to decide what we want to do on those edges. And I think changing the entire shape of culture is probably what's in order.
I say fuck yes to that, Lidia Yuknavitch. We have so much more time without having our periods. It's really like the one thing that really freaked me out about not having a period is sort of suddenly I'm not as tethered to the moon, which is so weird because I always felt so tethered to the moon with bleeding. I mean, we are such water creatures. You are a mer person, you are a water baby. I'm kind of not as, I mean, I have a jacuzzi tub, so now I'm really more water babying than ever before. I'm so excited about that. I need water to calm me. It's like the only thing that will calm me sometimes. And I feel like we share that. But now like not having that connection to the moon, to the ocean in the same way, where our bodies are just cyclical with that, which is such a trip, right? We get so used to it. It's just who we are. We dedicate a week or longer per month to kind of feeling like shit or dealing with whatever, or having to, take care of ourselves, which is a good thing in a way, like having that week of self-care we've got to anticipate, but then having it be gone. I was like, whoa, I remember not having it for a minute when I was on the pill or something, and women with IUD certainly don't get their periods anymore. But like, there's something wildly liberating about not having a period and having, like you said, your blood is your own and having your whole month be your fucking own. Like, we have an extra week to 2 weeks a fucking month now to like not be miserable on the couch. I mean, granted, going through menopause, you might be miserable on the couch and we feel you. And, but there are things you can do. There are people who are going to listen to you. There are menopause specialists. We're in a better place now than we were even 2 years ago for women being heard and getting that information. But like, how can we take that time, that newfound, that ancient power, let's just say that it's not new. It's been with us the whole time, but suddenly we're not dedicating it to just like feeling like a human for fucking 2 weeks a month, right? To trying to function through that pain. A lot of women have PMDD or other issues, endometriosis, that make it so bad. But how do we take that? We reclaim that time, and then what do you think we should do with it? How should we move forward? How can we build our ranks, Lidia?
Oh, I would go with the last sentence you said. My personal feeling is we should build our ranks. And so where I land in the story is I'm of those who want to work really hard in community building. And building our ranks is a great way to put that. But I've learned a lot from a bunch of women around me who are artists and writers and healers and just fellow freakazoids, and queer people and BIPOC people and poor people and wealthy people who are reminding me daily that each of us has to figure out, if we're turning back because a little bit of age, a little bit of wisdom got our blood back, and looking, where is the best place for us to serve whatever it is or whoever it is we care about? If it's not where it was, where is it? And so my answer is each of us has to find the place on the circle where we'll feel our own self-worth and worthiness for our communities and cultures. And some people that's going to mean, I'm free now. I'm going to be ambitious and make celebrity. I'm going to be, I'm going to go for me. For somebody else, for me, it's like build the ranks. For somebody else, it's like, I'm going to go grandmother the fuck out of this. I'm going to be that person who
Lean
has a
in.
different caretaker role. But there's a spot on the circle of, I guess I'm talking about social justice. There's a spot on the circle for everyone. And what should we do is look for a place on the circle where you can serve the people you care about, which is going to be different for everyone. And that's okay. But like, how can we keep a community vibrating and alive? And where can I stand in that? I'm saying circle because it's easy.
I would raise the ante. I would up the ante a little bit, Lydia, by saying, how do we start a motherfucking revolution? I'm not interested in resistance anymore. Fuck resistance. I am pro revolt and only fucking revolt. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm kind of, not a lot of people seem to understand this about me, but I'm pretty far left of left of left. And I actually think the system we have in this country has been poisoned from the start.
Hell yeah.
And abusive from the start. So I'm for system overthrow and displacements of power, and like ideas like the United States changing don't frighten me. I think a global power shift has to occur because I'm the one who's writing dystopian novels sometimes, and it's occurred to me that nations were a bad idea and colonialism was a bad idea, and democracy has some nice parts about it, but it recommitted colonialism and patriarchy and religion in some of its worst forms. So when you say revolt, I'm like, yeah, there needs to be a planetary shift. And that may be coming anyway by nature of Mother Nature and the cosmos, because, Mother Nature's had a little bit too much too, and it may come whether anyone wants it or not.
It may. We may not have a choice at all. It might just be environmentally we're fucked and we have to figure out a way through it. But it seems to me like, and I'm not saying all men aren't thinking about this. Some certainly are, but I definitely, from a lot of my women, non-binary, trans, LGBTQIA, and people of color, everybody but the white patriarchy, like we're all kind of like thinking, okay, well, they're holding so tightly to this terrible, outdated set of fucking bullshit systems. And we're seeing it implode. For all the horribleness of these assholes, there's something to be said of like, if everything we thought of as the norm can be literally ripped apart in 6 months, what was it in the first place anyway? Not good. So it was a construct. If that construct can be so quickly torn down by a bunch of narcissistic shit fucks, then can it be rebuilt by amazing people? By women and the actual world, right? Because it's not all white men. They are the minority, right? Like they really are. And this is why it's so ugly. Like we talked about this death rattle, like it's so just virulent and nasty. It's a fucking virus. Like it's a virus. Like this virus, the Trumpdemic, whatever the fuck, they're all complicit in this hell spiral, thinking they're like without impunity. But the irony is, I don't even want to say his name, but the sort of lizard person that SB are his initials, whatever. But he's like, oh, if we don't get what we want, we're all going to jail. I was like, bingo, fucker. Like that's what we need to be thinking about. I think people get so stuck in the terror of the now. But I think it's important to, yes, coven up and take a step back and look at like, what is the world you want to be living in? What is the body you want to be living in? What do you want to be doing at 75? Do you want the energy? Maybe you should consider hormones. Do you want to kind of just like age the way you want to age? Then don't, right? Do you want to pursue it from this perspective? But let's think ahead. Let's think about the world we want to live in.
Yeah, you're illuminating something for me that, so thank you for that. I think I'm stepping into the role I've written as characters in novels. Because these badass older women in the novels, all of them understand we're not going to rebuild what was there before, because that itself had some fuckery in it that carried the seeds of what's happening now. And these older women in the novel sphere, in the novel space, they're able to let go of the former constructs. And like in Book of Joan, you know, she's like, that world's gone.
See ya.
And we're not rebuilding with the same sticks.
Yes.
We're rebuilding with this water over here. And so I think maybe listening to you, I'm trying to step into one of those women novel roles and like.
It makes sense. Maybe it's not like a character. Maybe you were literally psychically tuning in to the next phase of your life and who you already were in 10, 20 years and like psychically, accidentally, whatever, kind of just like putting that. I mean, we make our own realities, Lidia. It's not like it's accidental.
It's occurred to me that my entire literary career has been some version of that. And like I'm taking the women I know with me, and then they're going to carry the story forward. And that's what life is, carrying the story forward and making a turn when it's fucking you up.
They gave me the chills. I love that so much. Okay, so we're heading towards the end of our chat. I would love to just like ask you, for people who are listening, what would be sort of, if I came to you fucking crying, like feeling like I was dying, I had vagina cancer, whatever the fuck, like if I was just like losing my mind at 37 or 40, you know, if I came to you, Lidia, and I was like, Lidia, you are the wise crone in my life. I need to know like what's wrong with me, what's happening, like to give me any hope. What would you say to me?
Well, first I would take you out and we would have a big session in the woods, and then we would have martinis after that and a giant hot tub, and I would fashion you a special crown made of like driftwood and thistles and with little perfect bells for your titties and, you know, magic potions for your vajayjay. And then I would give you this book only because my advice would be to tell everyone, share stories with everyone, get yourself a group of people who want to share that story, and so you will feel less alone and isolated. But first I'd celebrate your ass.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think community covenant, all of that's so important. So we've got a movie coming out. I've realized that Chronology of Water, the film, is going to drop nationwide or in wide distribution on my actual birthday. So we'll probably... I mean, it doesn't surprise me really. It all kind of makes sense. And this episode will also drop on my actual birthday because I wanted to tie all together. But we kind of skipped through Chronology of Water a little bit. Let's just talk about that for 2 seconds. The movie itself, like, how do you feel about like the process? Are you excited about the filmmaking team? Do you feel like people should be looking forward to this? What are your feelings on it?
I think that Kristen Stewart and Imogen Poots in particular are Spitfire Valkyrie badasses. I think, even though this is kind of a dramatic thing to say, this must be what it feels like to have adult daughters that you're proud of.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more proud of them because they were told no at every turn.
I saw that.
And they did it anyway. You would love them. You would so love them.
I already do this in my car, yeah.
I think they basically made a fuck you to the industry and to patriarchal culture and to Trump and to those who would keep art quiet and pretty. And my God, that's what I've spent my life invested in. So I'm for that. I bow.
I love it. Yeah, from what I've seen, from the teaser, the trailer, all of that stuff, it really seems like Kay Stu, and this is her first feature film as a director. I mean, she came out, I remember hanging around when she was like parked in front of your house for like a really long time in like a RV or something, like, and you know, working on
Sprinter van.
Yeah, exactly. Just parked in front of your house in a Sprinter for a few months or something, you know, and like was very intense with like getting that adaptation done. And I know she worships you from what I've seen in a, you know, crone love sister way, you know.
Yeah.
And like we all do, frankly, Lydia, if you didn't know. But anybody, even if I was older than you, I'd still worship you from a crone love sister kind of way. But it's exciting to see from her perspective the passion and the commitment to sort of getting what you're putting down and having that come into the film in this, like, I mean, look, that Chronology of Water, my friends, if you haven't read it, that is not a fucking easy book to adapt or to put into a movie. I read that book and I was like, oh, I would love to see this as a movie, but how do you do it? Like, it's not a typical linear narrative. Oh, I wake up, I go to the store. Oops, this thing's happened. Oh, damn, let's talk. It was no. This film is like, we're in the fucking water with you. We're getting smacked. We're feeling what you're feeling. We are being abused. We are finding reclamation. We are finding our souls again. We are, jumping from point to point to point. It's not a regular book. It is a motherfucking fever dream. So from what I've seen and what you said, it sounds like it is indeed a fever dream. And, I'm a filmmaker. Menopunks is my second feature film, and it's hard to make. I mean, it's all on my credit card right now, which is psychotic. Right. And it feels sometimes so hard to do this because you know that you've got something, you know that you're onto something, you're going to make it through hell or fucking high water. It doesn't matter. And so to see what they went through to make the film, and also ironically that it's a film of this book that's kind of about going through hell to find yourself again. I mean,
Yeah.
like it all feels like sort of kismet.
Yeah, and I mean, from my point of view, I think the strongest art forms put you through an actual, alchemy experience. And I think that's what she did. I think she succeeded. And it also, as the person making the art, it's a little bit of a Persephone journey. Like, I think she went to hell and back. And I think she brought something down from the depths to the surface for other people. And that's what I think the epitome of making art is. That somebody walks away with something in their heart or their soul or their hand that helps them keep going and inspires them. That's what I think art is. And I think she made some fucking art.
She made some fucking art. And it's impressive because, I mean, to make a faithful adaptation or a creative adaptation of the Chronology of Water is that's a hell of a fucking, no pun intended, deep dive for a filmmaker. It's, yeah. I mean, it's, and
she went for experience over plot, and so did I.
Oh, okay. I love that. Well, I love, there's a picture of like the leaning back in the water. I swear that's an exact copy of a picture that I've seen that you've posted of you in the water having that moment. I'm like, it's Lydia. Like, they did it. Like, how, and I love seeing K-Stew's fucking, journey into this fucking punk as hell artist. I mean, I can't even imagine her experience, like Twilight, Young, like all of that into who she's like. She's a fucking menopunk, man. That bitch, let me tell you, like, she has been a menopunk since way before meno. She's like, doesn't matter meno or not. Like, she's so punk with it. And I railing against it in that Hollywood system is so difficult. And to see how hard of a time she had making this, I was like, how is this possible? Like, if that's like, this is an incredible situation, but yet there we are. This is what happens, right? Like, this is the deal. Like, even for fucking Kristen Stewart, it's difficult to make an adaptation of a brilliant fucking novel.
I think she probably came out of the chute with a kind of like punk to herself, is my guess, because she made an anti-industry piece of art from within the industry. Like, she punched through it like a bullet or something. And sorry, that sounds violent, but like, she really punched through something. And she herself, I'm sure you've seen interviews with her, she's like, this is not Oscar bait.
Right. Right. She's like, don't leave me out of this. I made this for me. I made this for us. Like, that's that. I love that.
So it'll find the right people. It'll find the right people, which has been true for me in my literary life. Like, it's not for everyone. What are you going to do?
But yay, good. Fuck yeah. Like, I want, through this podcast, part of my goal is to encourage every fucking menopunk to see this film, and every fucking menopunk to also pick up, or at least get a chance to read through, however they read stuff, the Big M. Because look, whether or not you intended this, Lidia, you are such a clarion voice of our generation, of this generation. And I mean, like, truly given space, and whether or not it's personal or just through your art, like acceptance to the female experience in a way that I think we all are so thirsty for. And I think it's great that K-Stu was the one to make this. I mean, obviously it's great, but like, I love that she's so embedded in the fucking Hollywood system. And she's like, fuck you, Hollywood system. Here's a movie that's not for you. And I bet it'll win Oscars. I mean, fuck it. It's like, it's good. I mean, I would like to say, I mean, it doesn't matter if it does, but if it is what it is, we are in this insane moment, right? We really are generationally, multi-generationally reclaiming our power. And so it's going to be, I mean, I'm sure it'll be experimental in its own way, right? Just like the book, it's nonlinear, it's immersive, it's, you know, all of these things. But that's kind of what we need right now. I don't really want to be told what to do. Nobody wants to be told what to do. But I think Chronology of Water, what made the book so great is that it was a modeling of experience. It literally was. It wasn't like, you read this, here's what you do. It's like, here's what I did. Here's what happened in my life. Here's how I fucking survived. Here's how I fucking thrived. And so just like modeling the intense experiences of musicians or whatever, like, I'm excited to have a movie that models the darkest and a way through that darkness in an unfiltered, unflinching fucking way, because we deserve it. We deserve it. You know?
Totally. It's like, I love that every word that just came out of your face, but sometimes it feels like she stole the car keys and she's handing them to you and saying, you know, drive wherever you want. I stole the keys. Here, take the car.
And it's expanding it to so many more people. I mean, people read books, but now everybody's attention is fractured in these horrible ways, including my own. It's terrible. But I think, yes, I mean, finding someone to do a real deal adaptation from like a lover of Lidia Yuknavitch perspective, thank God. So I'm so excited for the film. It's going to be out wide 2 fucking day, according to my internal clock for my birthday and the release of this film. And I'm so excited. We're all excited about the Big M. It's perfect timing for so many people who need to be in community and coven, in good spirit, to have that bolster, that support, you know, and we're all trying to turn this fucking whisper network into a punk rock raging scream. And you, Lidia Yuknavitch, you know, you're fucking holding the spear.
My friend, so are you. Keep doing what you're doing. I love what you're doing. It's right time, right place, right mouth. And I'll guard the perimeter with a strap-on blowtorch.
Yes, strap on that flame, motherfucker. Yes. Well, I love you so much. Thank you so much for giving us the time, being so generous with your spirit and your energy. And, you know, everybody's going to love to hear what you have to say. And I can't wait for the world to get more Lidia Yuknavitch on their televisions and, you know, get to see the K-Stu Lidia brew and see how it all comes out. And I can't wait to see it. So let me know when you finally are going to go to a screening in Portland. I'm going with you. I want to hold your fucking hand. I want to be part of the coven that goes on the group trip for that. So thank you for being part of this. Thank you for being a Menopunk, and thank you for inspiring us all, Leah. You're just the best.
Back at you.
Yay. Are you a Menopunk? For more information about the movie, the Menopunks movement, Menopunks merchandise, and more, go to www.menopunks.com.